We're not gonna take it. No, we ain't gonna take it. And Jason has a goiter. Here we are, live on a Saturday morning, new for us. Good morning, Suzanne. Good morning, Roseanne. We are having some Saturday fun. And Jason, I can't be serious.
I think I mastered the throat chakra. Look at my fucking...
No, and as I told you before, you have not mastered your throat chakra when you have an LED goiter hanging from your throat.
I was trying to fill that undefined center with... Not going to work, huh?
No. But come with me on my woman's march, right? Because we're not gonna take it, okay? We're not taking it no more.
Grow a vagina if I do that?
And what was your response when I said that?
Will I grow a vagina if I come with you, if I join you?
No, of course not.
No vagina?
You can't have one because you're not that way. But you can certainly join in with the millions of women who are hopefully going to take it to the streets again, and not in the way that we normally think of women taking it to the streets. We are empowered. I was reading a very interesting article this morning, a political article written by, I don't even know who, but they were talking about how the younger generations, so you and I are in that medium generation, and probably most of our listeners are in that medium generation. But there's this whole younger generation that is developing an activism mindset. And I love that because they are social media aware, social media savvy, and they know how to bring people together. So I thought it was fascinating that I didn't even realize this. There was someone, hi, Ryan DeLuca. I don't know who you are, but we love you. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Mimi and Susie Cross. Thank you all for being there on a Saturday with us.
Ryan is a dear friend and a student of mine.
Very nice. Well, welcome, Ryan. It's good to have you out there. At any rate, so these younger generations, there was actually a paper written about how to become an activist. Like, what does activism look like in the 20 teens here?
Was it written by somebody in the 60s?
Well, it's like the 60s redone, right? In the 60s, it was take it to the streets. But now you don't have to take it to the streets, even though, you know, that's still a powerful expression. Now you can take it to social media, right? You could take it to social media, take it to Facebook, take it to Twitter, take it to Instagram. And before you know it, you are getting your message out to millions, maybe even billions of people, as opposed to the smaller portion when you show up in person. So it's really kind of an interesting time we live in. A great topic for today because the sun has moved into Aquarius. And these people sort of, and that kind of movement really represents the humanitarian brotherhood sort of energy of Aquarius. And here's something really kind of funny. Last night, my husband is sitting across from me, and he says, "Are we in the age of Aquarius yet?" I nearly choked because this, you know, he's normal everyday Joe guy. I mean, he's not necessarily Mr. Astrology. I mean, he obviously married to me, so he knows that I do this. But that was a really profound question because I think a lot of us are in this idea now of like, what the hell happened to that brotherhood and higher order of getting along and the energy of freedom and blah, blah, blah.
But you know what? From our time period and earlier, we had this sound bite out there that mainstreamed exactly what he said. And I think it's kind of charming because here's your husband who may or may not pay attention to you with respects to astrology, and it goes one ear and out the other. However, for him to say, like, oh, are we in the age of Aquarius? Like, in the back of his head, he heard, you know, Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr., you know, from the fifth dimension singing Age of Aquarius. And people are, they're always quoting that, and it's like, and Jupiter aligns with Mars, and it's like, that was the first time I think we had it pop culture. So your husband's remembering that, and it's a great thing because we've all been set up to wonder, you know, when is this age coming? You know?
Exactly, because what are the words of the song? Brotherhood and understanding. I mean, we did a whole show on Aquarian energy, or the age of Aquarius. and the various signposts that would tell us we were in that age or not in that age. And no matter what side you come down on, this is a 25,900 year cycle. So even if we're 500 years from the actual age of Aquarius, we are still in the cusp of this age. And so, I mean, the furthest out people go is like 500 years from now. And there's a lot of people that put out to the world that in 2011 to be exact, that we entered the age of Aquarius, which is kind of wacky. And
my problem with that. Age of Aquarius and Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's like over the top ridiculous to think that we're in the age of Aquarius with someone like that sitting on the throne, because he appears to believe that he's on a throne.
All wrong. Everything about him is wrong. Do you understand?
So let me throw something out to you guys, because this is kind of the way I'm looking at this. The age of Aquarius, the sign Aquarius is ruled by two planets. One, Saturn. That is the ancient ruler, the old traditional ruler of Aquarius. And Saturn is very traditional. It's very patriarchal. And I think Trump really represents that patriarchy, that old guard, white male, patriarchal sort of ideology and action oriented, right? All the actions are oriented to money, greed, it's that power, like all of that, right? Well, the other ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, which is a revolutionary, which is the planet of the awakening, the awakener. We call him the Great Awakener. We call that planet the Great Awakener. And so we almost have to have this buffoonish, overly caricatured person in office right now so that we can really see, Lord, people, this is not what we want, right? This is not what we want. So then we can go through the process of the revolution, of the awakening, and then bring into play characters that are more in alignment with where we're going. But I think some people needed to get that over-the-top message, right? That over-the-top message that this isn't right. This person in no way, shape, or form is correct or right. And there's got to be a better way, right? Some of the principles he stands for are outright archaic. But some things that he thinks about and tries to work through are things that we all have to grapple with. So it's not that he's 100% wrong all the time. He's mostly wrong in how he presents it. But these are the things that we have to deal with in the age of Aquarius, bringing that old traditional energy, the good parts of it, forward, and being able to take the new cutting edge stuff and bring it together so that we form a new reason for being, a new way of being with one another, and a new world. So until we can really see what's so laughable about the old, that we got to let that go, but still seeing the good and bringing some of that forward, we're probably going to have to experience the Trumps and the what's that guy's name? Steve Bannon's of the world, right? That totally over the top kind of people. I know, Jason, roll your eyes. Roll your eyes.
I don't even know at this point
what to say about it.
This is what I can say about it, and I'm going to come off priggish and old-fashioned.
You're a Capricorn, you're allowed.
Let's forget about his politics, right or wrong. The leader, the hope of the greatest country in the world, at minimum, needs to be a gentleman, a gentle man. And I am a gentleman. I have a mouth like a fucking whore as sailor. However, I can assure you that when I'm performing opera for royalty, when I am in rooms with people of state, that I know how to conduct myself, and my vocabulary adjusts. The ruler of our free world needs to be a diplomat.
Yeah.
Now, if you cannot be those first two things, I don't give a fuck what your politics are. But you cannot represent my country, a country of cogent, civilized, loving, welcoming,
Generous people. We are a magnanimous people. And look what we got. I don't know. If I bring myself to the human level, I'm like, oh my God, we are so doomed. But if you can elevate your perspective to the more spiritual level, there's a rightness to this. Because I think that in its absurdity, and I'm going to talk about absurdity again here in a moment, in its absurdity is this call for people to join together and really create what we want, not a what we don't want, but what do we want as people. And I was thinking about this morning as I was doing my hair. As you can see, I spent tons of time on it. It's still wet and up in a bun. Wow. But I was thinking about
wet
women.
buns.
Huh?
You have wet buns?
I have wet buns. I have so much hair anymore. It's just like a wet dog. At any rate, I was thinking about women this morning and how women tend to lead by consensus, and that women make decisions typically. Not all women. This is the same thing with men. Not all men make the exact opposite of these decisions, but women will almost always make decisions that are in support of caring for people, caring for the planet, what's best for as many people as possible, and not what's happening right now, which is this old white patriarchy who's making decisions for the billionaires, for the corporations. 99% of us are not that. A woman president, women in Congress, they're going to look more at that ground level. They're going to look at our children being taken care of, because we're rested. We have to raise our children in order to have a future. And I think the white patriarchy doesn't see that, right? They don't see that. But I'm also really aware that the founding groundwork of our country was in the idea of government being small. And I believe in some ways our government got really big and got really much in our lives in very many ways, right? Try driving right now without a seatbelt on, right? That's government in your life telling you what to do. So in some ways, there's a correctness to some of the things that Republicans stand for. But I think what they lose in that is this idea of we are way many millions more people than we were at the founding of this nation. And we have to be able to take care of the weakest links, the children, the poor, the older people. And that's a message that women can get on board with, because that's what our natural inclination is to be caregivers, to take care of and nurture. But we need that masculine other side as well. So here we have a really interesting time with Aquarian energy being sort of androgynous, right? Androgyny. That's a new word. That's a new way of thinking of how do we. Androgyny doesn't care about whether this is for women or men. It's about what's good for everybody. And I think that's kind of the leaning that we are having to move to. In the short term, I think we've got to move back to caring for our kids, caring for the people who don't get enough to eat. And while I'm up on my soapbox, I don't know if anybody out there ever watches the show Shameless. So
all the time.
It is the fucking most hilarious show ever. But something got to me the other night. I was watching one of the episodes, and the young girl that has a baby, her name escapes me, Debbie, she has a baby, and she goes to a food bank. And the lady in the food bank hands her a box, and in it is macaroni and Velveeta cheese. Like, I'm not even sure Velveeta cheese is real. Like, is it a food? I think it says cheese food on it. Like, if you have to say that something's food, it probably isn't food, right? So
Product.
There you go. So and not to beat up Velveeta, but the point was, here's these poor people. They have to go to a food bank to get food, and you give them shit food? Oh my God. I don't know what it was about that moment. I wanted to sign up and go to every grocery store and say, look, how many fresh vegetables do you throw away every day? How many? How much kale, how much celery, how many carrots, how many squashes, lettuce, what tomatoes, onions, potatoes, what are you throwing away every day? And can't you reroute some of that to the food banks? And why can't the food fucking banks be open more than one day a week? Do you think everybody runs out of food on Wednesdays? So I know I'm on my soapbox. I can't help myself. So there's some things that we got to look at. I know, and I'm not trying to undermine the effect that food banks have. They're good. They're there. They get what they get, and they give that. But we got to start thinking about the way that we are nurturing and taking care of people, from kids to adults to the elderly. Even, the people who are out there working hard every day and do make a good living still sometimes need support, right? So let's enter the age of Aquarius full on. You know what? That cross represents the age of Pisces. And poor Christ, his words got so screwed up, right? He's telling us all this, right? He was telling us all this in all of his different ways and his different stories and parables and words. Unfortunately, all those words went through man meaning not just men, but mankind, and got totally twisted. Okay, so what do? Well, we start thinking for ourselves.
I'm trying to exercise the demons since you were on your...
I'm on my soapbox. Get me off my soapbox. Look at Suzanne. She says, preach, mama. Hell yeah. Because I'm angry about this. I'm angry that a young mother would go to a food bank and get fucking Velveeta and pasta. Is it any wonder we are diabetes ridden? Is it any wonder we have high blood pressure? Is it any wonder we have cardiac issues? I mean, come on. We're taking the most vulnerable people and we're feeding them the crap. So we got to change some things. Now, I'm not saying out there go immediately and change the food bank system, but I think we got to look at that. Roseanne likes your cross, Jason. I think we all like your cross.
It's Gorham. Thank you.
Wait, what's Gorham?
Gorham is a type of silver, a silver manufacturer, a reputable one.
Nice.
The Gorham company made middle to lower class silver, especially during the periods of the 40s, 50s, and 60s, I believe. Anyway.
Roseanne says she works in grocery. What do they do with all that food, Roseanne? My guess is they toss it, but you tell me. I'm going to let her tell me. What do they do with all of that food?
All right, well, lots happening. I didn't really get your energy report today because we got way off. I really have no fucking clue what you said. I'm lost.
I don't know that I said anything about the energy of the day, except that the sun had moved into Aquarius, which brought up this whole Aquarius stuff.
That's great. Okay, look. So we got strength today, the 11 card. 11, 11, 11, 11.
I love it. Hold on. I've got to hide Roseanne's comment. Just 1 second. I got to find it. I got to find her comment so I can hide it. There we go. Lovely card. I like that card.
He is so beautiful.
And it's not really strength. It's all about love, right?
Yeah. This card is I say it all the time. Janet's always like broken record, but whatever. You have to say the same things until people get it. This card is improperly entitled. It should be love card. That's the way we are able to overcome stuff. This is how we get through into the next level. It is not strength. In the original card, the lady is prying effortlessly this lion's mouth open and taming it with love. In this picture, the male stands on it because you see the soul is androgynous. The soul is androgynous, and that's the word you were using.
Yes.
So this card says that it is only after the wheel, I believe it is, of observation, I think that's the one before, that you are able to get to this place where you are able to put yourself in the shoes of someone else. Walk in their shoes, and it is that which gives you compassion. It is only through compassion that we get to a place of love.
Mm.
There are factors. I think I might even write an essay on this. Between observation, between compassion, I gotta tell you. Tara, we love you too, you big bitch. Is that what his little thing says? It says bitch?
No, it says blessed.
Okay, it says bitch. There is, in Terry's little, what is that called? A little, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, and his hat. It's a hat, and it's like a beanie, and it says bitch, like, he's the bitch at work.
Remind me to show him my hat that I have, and I'll tell a funny story now if you think we should, or this is going too long.
Well, I just wanted to say something about your card first, and then you can go on. And that is that today the moon is in Pisces. So Pisces is an energy about compassion and self-love. So it goes right in alignment with that card, and we hadn't even talked about that point yet. So the card is perfectly in alignment with the energy for not only today, but tomorrow. The moon will still be in Pisces tomorrow. So there we have it.
Funny story, true story. I think everybody enjoys my storytelling. I know Michelle does. Is
Yes,
Michelle on today? Is Michelle on today?
Michelle who? Brooks? Yes. I thought I saw her out here. Michelle. She said hi. See, she's there.
What did Roseanne say about the food?
Well, Suzanne said something horrible about the food. Not that she's horrible, but she said that where she worked, they would pour poison on the food and put it in the dumpster. That is sick. And Roseanne says they have rules and food bank is following rules. Can't make poor people sick. Gosh, that would be really bad. Roseanne said grocery is excellent and they all donate, all of them, Walmart, Target, etc. There is an actual person who is in charge of donations at each store. Yeah, so I'm not questioning their giving. I'm questioning what they give.
What you're questioning is the message that was being set out. Now, we all know that they paid for commercial placement for that show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's besides the point. What you would have liked to have seen was healthy greens and things that are good for them. But the long and the short of it is that simple carbohydrates and sugars and pastas keeps people going. It's unfortunate, but we need carbohydrates. When people are low, it's energy food. It's not the best. Granted, it would be great for baked potato or brown rice, but a lot of these people can't even cook. They wouldn't know how to make a brown rice. I'm not joking, because I go to a food bank once a month.
Somebody else here was talking about that.
We do get vegetables that are decent. We do get apple. We do get fruits that are decent. Are some of the stuff expired? Yeah. Are some of their things questionable? Yeah. But I look at it this way: I'm thankful to get what I get, and that we are a country that can at least provide that, whereas other places there's no food bank. So it's all perspective.
True. I'm just saying, if you're going to give away food, if you're going to feed the hungry, feed them good food, right? Yeah. Don't give them freaking Velveeta and bullshit stuff. Give them stuff that is sustaining them. Carbohydrates burn off really quickly. Protein is the better option.
Simple carbohydrates burn off quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Amend that.
Doesn't matter. Carbohydrates still burn off quickly. You need to have them. You need to have protein because it satisfies the body over the longer haul.
Yes, but the study they've done with the way in which the complex carbohydrate breaks down over time, it does a beautiful thing in the system, and it doesn't fuck your pancreas up. Like a brown rice, the body has to take time to digest.
Yeah, something like that. Quinoa, brown rice.
Right. Yeah. Complex carbohydrate, a baked potato.
At any rate, that's just one idea that we can include in our thinking of how do we support the weakest links that we have in our society. How do we do that? How do we take care of? And women, I think, would be more in tune with that than these masters of the universe, billionaires who are sitting behind their thrones, thinking, let them eat cake. That is the making of
Okay.
revolutions. That is the making of a civil war. Let's
My
prevent that.
love, I'm going to pick a card for tomorrow. This
Good
will allow
idea.
you to this will allow you to come up with something fantastic to say about tomorrow.
Okay. Fantasticals.
This is fantasticals. If I was going to say pick a fantasticals card, I would pick this card.
Nice.
We
Hold
don't
on.
get it
Hold on.
often. As a matter of fact, I will venture to say we've never had this card.
No, we've had this card once before.
Yep. Okay.
The 6 of what? Cups, is it?
Yep.
Yep. 6 of Cups. Gifts from Spirit.
Buddha. This is the one where it's the spinning wheel of life. It's excellent. It's money. It's happiness. It is a card for tomorrow, which means you had a good week, all in all being said. Be thankful. Look at the riches you have. Give to those that are less fortunate. And if you don't have anything else to say, I will end with a funny story.
Funny story. Hold on. Tomorrow, Sunday, moon's still in Pisces. So we are still in the compassion, self-love, but we're also in the let go and let God energies. What the energies of releasing ourselves to a higher power. And when the world is absurd, and trust me, right now the world is absurd, that there is something higher in the background that is hopefully putting us in the right place at the right time with the right people. And the moon tomorrow will actually coincide with the planet Chiron. So there may be some moons that come up tomorrow. And again, releasing them to source, to God, whatever your belief system is, and surrendering, trusting, having faith in a higher power. Carry on. Story time, Jason.
I was living at this address, at one of these addresses that I'd had in New Jersey. And I'm the kind of guy that is always like definitely about love thy neighbor. I have always been that way. I've never been like, oh, I don't know my neighbors. I don't talk to them. No, fuck that. I want to know who the fuck I'm living around. If you're a psychopath, I'm fine with that. I just want to know what kind of psychopath. Now then, there was a little old lady, old Italian lady, and she lived across the street. I mean, everything you can imagine. Short, diminutive in stature, curvature to the spine. I have a thing because of Capricorn, you know, being with the old people. I've a lot of volunteer work with the elderly, a lot. So this is just unbelievable to think that I was so concerned about being nice that I wasn't paying attention. So I saw this old lady. The snow is coming down in shitloads. And I see this old lady by herself with a little hump shoveling. And you can see that the tractor trailers have pushed the snow up against her driveway and it's compact and she's trying and she's falling and I flipped out. Dun, da, 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 da.
Jason to the rescue.
I throw a fucking baseball cap on. I throw my winter gear on real quick, tie my shoes, I go outside. And I said, hi, you don't know me. My name is Jason. I don't want any money. I live across the street. I was raised a certain way. Can I help you? Can I be of any assistance? Now, she's hearing the words come out of my mouth. So you can see that it's registering in a, oh, thank God, kind of a pleasant way. But she's looking at me like this.
With suspicion, like he's going to...
No, like this. Slight horror. So I take this shovel out of her hand and I chomp away at her thing. No, let me try that again. That was gross. That sounded wrong. I did not chomp away at her oh, scary.
I would have let that slide.
mudslide. So I'm just shoveling away, and I look at her and I say, "Well, here you go. It was my pleasure. This is my card. I live across the street. If you're ever needing, what do you call it? Anything moved, or you need anything lifted, please do not hesitate." Now, again, she's hearing this love and this kindness. Got to be about 75-year-old Italian Guinea woman, looking at. And again, she's looking at me kind of like this. And so I shook her hand. I said, "Nice to meet you. God bless. God bless." Were the last words out of my fucking face. I go home, and as soon as I open the door in the atrium little area, I have a beautiful Baroque mirror. I'm sweating. I go up to the mirror, and I look in the mirror, and I go, "Oh, fuck." A friend of mine was off Broadway in a show called The Vagina Monologues. They each got a different cap for a different vernacular slang of the word vagina. And mine said in large capital letters in black and white, "Cunt." So this woman is looking, and it's cunt.
Oh, is it any wonder she's looking at you like?
I never showed my face again to her.
So much for helping your neighbors, you cunt.
You had to see her puzzling. Like, obviously she knew what the word was. She knew what it was processing, and it was backing up the processor. Like, why? Why would a lovely young man like this? Is there something in society that I don't know about now? Is this like an okay word? Is this like,
God.
What? Yeah, that was...
You're going to make me cry.
I told you.
Funny story. Well, that's a really great way to end the day, I think. And go out, live your life, have fun, play,
laugh,
be good to yourself, laugh at the absurdity of life that makes us feel so serious. And we'll see you all Monday morning. Have a stellar day. That's for you, Terry.